I'm not late yet? How long ago do you think this picture was taken?
A year and a half.
Very, very close. He nailed it. Hey everybody, Danny Roebuck. Come in if you want to come in, sit down. If you want to sit down, we're so happy to see you. Darren introduced me and then I came in like an idiot. I'm me.
So guys, before we release Daniel on y'all, if I can get everybody to scoot in or scoot out, make the empty chairs available. We've got you guys this chair over here.
And we have chairs here. And anybody want to sit here? Hello.
Come on guys, please come in and sit down, just in case. I mean, I don't think the fire marshal will show, but
Do you guys all have a chair? Here's an extra one.
There's one here.
And there's one here and there's one here. There you go.
give you my chair.
Guys, sit over there. Then there's one up front here. I'm so glad you did. So, thank you for coming. While you were out, we all told a secret about ourselves that no one else knew, and that was quite a surprise. Killing that guy in college, yeah. Because I saw that forensic file, and that's the one they have. So, was there maybe a secret that? Come on, there's 2 chairs here. If you 2 lovebirds don't mind being separated. So what an honor to be here and see people and have everybody even care. I could stand if we need.
I'm gonna go get a couple more.
All right, we can do that. All right, should I begin?
So you wanted me to do introductions, and why?
Yeah, no, you're right. Thank you, very kind. Everybody, my name is Daniel Roebuck, and you're all here because I sell Amway. It's such a treat to have you all here and know that you're all going to be new corporate level Amway salesmen. Wouldn't that be the worst? Do you know famous Amway salesman, by the way, top tier, Ernie Borgnine? Do you guys know that? I love Ernie, and he lived to be like 94. Imagine how many people he had under him if he started selling Amway in 1960. Because he'd be on the set, he'd say, "Oh yeah, you were so great in that scene. I'd love to work with you again. Would you like to sell, pots and pans?" Please excuse me, I don't think I have that thing. Have you guys heard about COVID? I'm sure I don't have COVID, right? What is that? But I have been going nonstop for weeks and weeks. So God the other day was like, slow down. So he took my voice away for a little bit, and I'm going to try to talk to you and answer any questions. And anything I don't know, I'll totally make up. So there's that. So you probably know more about me than me, I hope. But I've been doing this for about 40 years. Come on in, Uda. I've been doing this for about 40 years in Hollywood. I was an actor before that in Pennsylvania. I was a circus clown, and I was an impressionist and a magician and a ventriloquist. That was probably the most unnerving for my family. My mom would say, "Come on, we got to go food shopping," and 6-year-old me would say, "Oh, yes, let me get my doll." "Don't bring the doll. Oh, he's bringing the doll. What? Oh, we're buying soup. Oh, soup's good. She'd be like, please just walk away from it. I'm trying to make your job hard. What's great about this is, if things get bad, they did put in an elevator so that I can simply go away if there's a need for me. This isn't easy to do at 59. Actually, that was the easy part. I'm going to will myself up. Willing it up. That's all I had in me. So why don't we make it a Q&A? Or in my case, a cute NA. So so full of myself. What can I tell you about? He has a question. Yes, sir.
All right, well, since I'm new on the Monsters, when I try to find out, tell me what's it like working with the great Rob Zombie?
What I wonder is there anybody right now standing in front of Rob Zombie asking him, what's it like working with a great
There should be.
How lucky are you, Mr. Zombie? So Rob is terrific. You guys, he is an artist. He is a hands-on artist. You're doing a scene and Rob be like, yeah, hold on one second, hold on. And he'd look at a wall, I'm not kidding. And he'd say, bring me the paint. And he'd go, okay, everybody, let's go again. Like he's so into all of it. He's such a great artist. And that's rare. And he's a visionary. And this version of the Munsters, which everybody crapped on, I had to tolerate all of this evil. He worse. His poor wife, even worse than that. The things they say about her, nobody works harder than she does. He's amazing, and he's great, and he's a real actor's director. And what that means for an actor, I know we're my actors. An actor's director means they let you just do what you do, and they don't tell you how to do it. So we appreciate that. And I've earned my way up. You know, someone asked earlier, was it you, Rob? Like, I never complained on the set. I did whatever. Like, he called me in, to, you know, we're going to, you want to be in my new movie, 31? Yeah. You'll be dead after the credits. Great. I'm really excited to be there, yeah. And I'll tell you a 31 story. Who's seen 31? Few of you? 31
Twice.
Is twice? Oh, so that's really 62. I literally make these jokes up on the spot. That's why they're not really that great, but they're like a dad joke. So in 31, the movie opens with this clown doing this amazing monologue. And then when he's done with the monologue, you realize he's talking to me. I'm a minister. I'm tied to a chair. And then I beg for my life. I try to find out where my wife is. And then he takes an axe and he kills me with his axe. So this required 5 hours in the makeup chair to have every cut, everything. I mean, and we had time, so we just had fun, wait and talked. The guy who designed the Munsters makeup is a great makeup guy. So we're having fun, and then after 5 hours of makeup, they bring me to the set. Does anybody have a lozenge or a piece of gum on them? Anybody? What do you got?
Sugar-free lemon drops?
I'll take it. I'll take it. Is it? Oh, look, you really got it. Yeah. I thought this was going to be like, you know how your grandmother, I have a sugar-free lemon drop. I only sucked on it once. and it's in a tissue. Why would you put it? Aren't you older than me? All right. So they bring me to the set. Thank you. They bring me to the set. They literally tie me to the chair. Literally. So I can't, if I got to pee, scratch my nose, whatever, I can't do it. And then we're ready to go, and Rob goes, okay, we're ready? All right. Turn on the water. I go, what? You know, it's nothing. Yeah, we're going to drip some water on you. Now what this means is, I'm couldn't be more uncomfortable, and then drip, 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 and then the water takes the fake blood right in your eye, and the other fake blood in your mouth. And I go, okay, here we go. We're going to do it. And any last words? And I said, yeah, I have something to say. Yeah, what? I go, you know, other directors, I star in their movies. I'm literally a star in the movie. It said starring Daniel Roebuck. And you kill me. So I guess he feels Grandpa the Count was my payback finally for suffering through indignity after indignity. But the truth is I would do anything for the guy because I really do love him. Not in an unnatural way, I love him. And not just because he gives me jobs, I just really like being around him. We had an event. We had to live in a bubble. So, you know, we flew on a plane from like my house in California to Budapest, Hungary, and the plane is, you know, this wide, and it's gorgeous, and it's this long, and it's gorgeous, and it's just me, and it's 7 of us, me, Jeff, the DP, 5 of us, Sherry, and Rob, and that's when we realized we were going to be. This was our bubble for 3 months. We were only going to be us. Now there's things I didn't think of. You know, I've never been on a private plane. I know this is a surprise to many of you, an actor of my caliber. It was certainly a surprise to me. But I'm on this private plane, and they gave us a menu a week in advance, and they said you can order anything you want. So I ordered the steak because I'm on a private plane. So we're up in the air, we're flying, and then they're in the conversation. I realize that every other person on the plane is a vegan. And then they start cooking my steak somewhere over the Atlantic Ocean. And I watch Rob Zombie, he's reading a magazine and he goes, and Herman, the guy who played Herman, Jeff Daniel Phillips, is like, they put the steak, we were sitting, like, this is as wide as the plane is. So the table, me and Jeff and Rob and Sherry, they put that steak down like this. They have to move his salad and her salad and his salad. And I just started and I realized this is the last time I'm going to see steak for 3 months. And that's kind of how it was. Anyway, there's a fun story. But I loved every minute of it. Question.
Why Budapest?
Why Budapest? Have you seen the movie?
Yes.
Well, because we shot in Transylvania. Most of the movie takes place in Transylvania. So instead of trying to recreate that on the back lot of Universal Studios, which I can tell you is more and more impossible, we did it there. And our back lots have a New York street, and our back lots have a Wild West street. Their back lots have a medieval castle, and, you know, I don't know, they have everything medieval, because that's what they have. And right, you know, at this end of their back lot was the Munster's house, and at this end of the back lot, right off the freeway, is a concentration camp set. So you're like, just go down the road, when you hit that concentration camp, make a right. So weird, but you know, they're movie sets. So that's why they're. Yes, sir.
So on the show Lost,
Yes.
were you warned ahead of time about your wonderful demise?
I was told when they hired, if you haven't seen me on Lost, and my character comes on out of nowhere, and then that's how he goes out. In the 3rd episode I'm on, I blow up with dynamite. This spoiler alert if you see it.
How does it end?
I literally blow, I have dynamite, I'm like, don't, be careful, boom! And I'm gone. They told me I was going to die in the 3rd episode, but they didn't tell me how. So I actually thought I was going on the boat and maybe I'd be eaten by a shark. And then when I got the next script, here's a story, you can't make some of this stuff up. They call me Carlton Hughes, who was a showrunner, had done Nash Bridges. So I remember, what a weird thing to remember, I was auditioning for the new version of Kolchak the Night Stalker, which you may remember came and went, and it lasted 3 episodes. Why? Because instead of casting a character actor, they cast the best looking guy in the world. And the whole point of Kolchak is nobody believes him because he's not extraordinary, right? And I sat in there and told them that. That did not go over well. Because I was reading for another, they turned it into like The Fugitive, their version, so there was a guy chasing Kolchak. Anyway, while I was waiting to go audition, I got a call from Carlton, and he had told me that. So he just said, you're going to be a new character. If you'll do it, we'll make the deal. So I'm like, I'll do whatever you want, Carlton. So I got to Hawaii, and I got to the office, and it was a Sunday, so nobody was there except 2 or 3 women. And I said, could I have the script? And they said, no. Oh, can I just have my sides, my pages? And they were like, No. And I said, can one of you do an interpretive dance? I don't really know how to do this otherwise. Somebody said once, you took the part without reading the script. I'm like, yeah, I read the plane ticket. It said, LAX to Honolulu. What am I really heading out? I took the job. So that's how it happened. Another question.
I have a question.
Yes.
What did you do to prepare for Grandpa? Did you study the character in the TV show?
So what did I do to prepare for Grandpa? I hope you liked it.
Some of you had some of his movements down beautifully. Even the voice. I was like, great job.
Thank you. So, Daniel Day-Lewis. He's like, I took an entire year off to be Lincoln. And then they're rolling the camera first take, and they're like, Mr. Lincoln. And he goes, yes, I'm Abraham Lincoln. And I think, a year? I did that in like 3 seconds. So I've been preparing 55 years. I would say that the first time I saw the Munsters, that you could remember anything, I was probably 5. And then God blessed me with some other really ironic things. If you follow my social media, when I was a clown in a circus, I love your shirt, by the way. We're all going to look at him right now. I hope you're one of those guys who'll give you the shirt off his back. So aside from watching the Munsters, I was a clown in a circus when I was 12, and I had to create my clown character, and I wanted to be a vampire clown. So I was this comic vampire. What's his name? Oh, he has to have a name. The Count. So you go to my social media, I put up a picture of me when I was 12 in the circus. I was one of the youngest clowns in the circus in the United States. And me as the Count, and then my business card, the Count. Like, what are the chances of that? And then I knew Al, he was a friend, and I had worked with Fred, and he was a friend. And so 55 years of preparation. Now, because you put me in the middle of a room, I'm going to say what I think. God is good. He made sure that I was prepared. When I was 12, I started like 5 watching it, but 12 preparing to be a funny vampire. And, we realized, all of us early on, that it was about getting the hands into the shot. Like Al was always like, yeah, listen, Herman, they always had. Yeah. Listen, Herman, idiot, moron. Oh. And Fred was always like, oh, not now, Grandpa. So, like, we talked about that in one of the first rehearsals. Our hands always had to be up to make it seem right. But other than that, the last other gift God gave me was I'm the exact same height and shape as Al Lewis was, and we're from the same part of the world. He was from the Bronx, I'm from Bethel, Pennsylvania. So as a crow flies, 75, 80 miles. So we were similar. Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Sherry as well. Her hand movements. I was like, she's Lily. Like,
yeah, I never, it was crappy that people, she's terrific. These negative people. Huda. Hova. We've never met before. Hova, tell me, yes, you have a question?
Sorry. What was your favorite death out of all the deaths you've died?
I've died so many times. Now, what is that? Where 2 things have happened over the years. They're like, I'm going to say this word. I hope the kids still here. They're like, we wrote this character. He's such an a-hole. Call Roebuck. Or worse. Oh, we wrote this character. He's got an awful death. Call Roebuck. Lost was probably the most famous death because it was an explosion. I was killed once by a screaming skull in a Larry Blamire movie where it kept hitting me on the head till I was dead. Blood Skeleton of Cadaver Returns.
I'm trying to remember.
And Larry's on the pole. Boom. But he keeps hitting me with okay. But in Halloween 2, I think that's a pretty despicable end. And that was that was, I mean, you know, he was Tyler, the death was 3-pronged. So if you see the movie, Tyler Minkin, and he's pounding me into a couch, and it says in the script, pounds Big Lou into the couch, pound, 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 on and on, pound, 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 pound. After about 2 minutes, I screamed, "Would someone, for the love of God, yell cut?" I was starting to lose, you know, consciousness.
Shaken baby.
Shaken baby, that's right. It was horrible. But Rob, you know, he's entertained. He wanted to get just the right look of me losing conscious. And then he had to throw me into that mirror, which I did about 30 times. And then you don't know it until you've done it, but you're wearing all this fake blood. And if you remember, I had the broken arm that was fake and everything. And he'd slam me, and then I'd have to get up off the floor to do it again. And there's a point where it's your flesh and the rubber makeup, the foam rubber latex, and the fake blood and your real blood. And as you get up, you're like, oh, I felt that tear. I hope that wasn't me. And then Wayne Toth would just come in, I'd be like, is that me? He goes, you don't want to know. And he just put more fake blood in it. Crazy. Yes, you had a question, sir.
Yeah, I was just, we talked earlier, but how did you meet Don Coscarelli and what is it?
Oh, yeah, Chuck's a big fan of Don Coscarelli movies. By the way, not a nicer guy in the world who makes movies. So my introduction to Don was through stuntman Bob Ivy, who flipped the hearse in Phantasm 3. The big hearse flip where it goes, it's in 3 or 4.
I don't remember which one it was.
Yeah. So Bob it was funny. Bob and I met as extras, right when we both got to town. We were both in town for about 4 minutes. And we were extras on a show called, I can almost remember, hold on. Shokushagi, it was called The Marshal, I think, or something like that. The Master. Anyway, Bob loved Phantasm so much that he found a way into the Phantasm movies. And then he's Bubba Hotep.
Yeah, I know he was.
Yeah, he's Bubba Hotep. And I remember he was like, man, you're really going to hate me. Why? I'm going to be this mummy in this movie. Yeah, you know what? I do hate you. Yeah, that's weird, but I really do hate you. Because he was a toy before I was by about 20 years. So now I really hate him. I didn't think of that. That was my introduction. And then like Rob Zombie, Chuck, I would do whatever Don called me and said, would you do this, would you do that? And he always says what a favor I did him, because I did that Largeman in the mask without, but I said, don't worry about it.
What you told me about that name?
Yeah, large, yeah. In the script, you guys, it's Largeman. But they would say, bring Large Man to the set. It's Largeman. Crazy. So that's how I ended up in there.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how I ended up in there. Other questions?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I really like the fact that he used color with.
Oh, in the Munster.
Yeah, what was the creative decision behind that?
Well, he just recently said he would have done it in black and white. But people, I mean, it doesn't matter how many second guessing. No major studio is going to let you release a comedy for kids in black and white. Just not going to happen. Just not going to happen. Were you part of those shows?
Black and white.
Just love.
You just love them, yeah.
Yeah.
Like Shane is a color fanatic.
Yeah.
Like and that's I think why Rob liked him and used him for Halloween 2 was his colors and whatnot. So he said he couldn't do it in black and white, so why not make it fully color? But you know what's weird to me, you guys? If you really are a nerd like I am, you watch Monsters Go Home, you can see the exact same color palette in Monsters Go Home, mostly in the stuff in the U.S. before they get to England.
Yeah.
But it's the same 3-trip light, yellow, red, blue. Come to the table and I'll show you pictures, because I have great pictures of it. So he did that. But people say, yeah, man, I'm going to watch that movie in black and white. And I always say, would you watch Monsters Go Home in black and white? No? Right? Why would you put this one in black and white? It's not a black and white movie. It's a color movie. And we have a great DP, Zoran Popovic. I mean, there's a lot to love. Look, you want to watch it in black and white? That's easy now. black and white. You know, then, but you got to find your colors back. When you turn the TV on the next night, you're like, I've had a stroke. Oh my God, I've had a stroke. Oh wait, no, I changed the color. Oh God, I can't see color. Any other questions? Yes.
Somehow you've managed to be in all three of my favorite TV shows, which is great. But I'd love to know about any of your time on one episode of
Quantum Leap, great. Quantum Leap, oh my God. So, you guys remember Quantum Leap?
Oh, yeah.
The first one, yeah. Scott Bakula, I think, is the hardest working guy in show business. He's a dreamboat. Like, so my plan is to be in every TV show ever made, even the ones that were made before I was. Like, at some point, you're going to be like, okay, Marcia, Jan, Greg, Dan. And you'll be like, wait, how did he do that? So when you're a guest star, I get to see so many actors. And a guy like Scott Bakula, you go, this guy is blessed by God. Sometimes you'll be on the set and it's their second episode, and I'd see some kid that I know will never be in anything else. Is like, you know where you need to put the camera? Put the camera here. Because then I'll look, I'll turn and I'll look at the camera there. And I think, what are you? And the guy in charge of the camera, that's his job. You don't have to worry about that. But you never say anything on those shows. But Scott always impressed me. Can I tell you who else impressed me? Mark Harmon impressed me. Another gracious guy. And of course, I'm a character guy, so when they're good looking and gracious, I'm really pissed off. Hi, Mark. I'm sure you're an asshole. No, actually, I'm not. Okay. Do you mind if I tell people you are? Great guy.
So speaking of assholes, do we need to give you a chance to rest your voice?
No. Why don't we? You're very kind to ask that. Wait, he's here?
We'll introduce you.
Great guy.
Yes,
Great.
definitely.
Okay, whoa, you're married.
Times have changed.
Oh, I like your thinking on that.
Are you good to keep going?
Let's go. Do we have a couple more questions?
Do you want anything else to drink?
No, I'm all right for. When I'll go out there, I'll grab something. Yes, sir. Jay, we've never met before.
No, complete strangers. I know you've told me this story, but can you relate for them your experience on The Fugitive and your first experience meeting Harrison Ford?
Ooh, no. Look, you guys. I mean, it's Harrison Ford. And I was spoiled because I went from Matlock the first season to The Fugitive to Matlock. So here's how I got the part in The Fugitive. It's ridiculous. I had auditioned for it a year before when it was going to be Alec Baldwin as, the lead. Kimball. Thank you. Been a long day. So I went to audition and I was on a hiatus from Matlock and I was sitting in this, I don't know where we get, I'm writing a book for actors so they never make these kinds of mistakes. So I'm sitting in this audition and it's a half hour, an hour, it goes on and on. And I say to, I know the cashier, I'm like, how are we doing? How much longer? She goes, trust me, Dan, it'll be worth it, just hang. And then I'm next. So the guy leaves, I get up, and right as I'm walking toward the door, somebody comes out of another room and goes, I'm sorry, Andy Davis. Andy, Harrison's on the phone. And he comes out, and he looks at me like on my way. He goes, I'm sorry. And he goes into this other room. I sit back down, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I look back now as a 59-year-old man and think, where did I have to be? Other than to audition for The Fugitive. What was my day filled with? I wasn't going somewhere to count money or anything. So finally, he comes out. I'm sorry. Goes into the room. Dan, it's finally me. Sit down. The first thing Andy Davis says, because he's the greatest guy in the world, he goes, I'm so sorry for that. I'm so sorry. And I said, let me be perfectly honest with you, Andy. If Harrison Ford had called me, I would have made you wait a half hour. And I think I had the part by the time I left. And I think you're talking about the night we're sitting on the set. late. It was later we had worked together for months, and you know we'd been together for a long time. And although we didn't have a lot of scenes together, we were always there in the morning, there at night, talking, riding the elevator. I got to stay in the same hotel, the Four Seasons, and one night we're just exhausted. It's like month 5 of the movie, and we're sitting on the camera cases, which are never allowed to do, where they put the lenses and everything. But Harrison Ford was sitting on it, so I thought they're not going to yell at him. So he's sitting on a case, I'm sitting on a case. I look over at him, he looks over at me. 3 o'clock in the morning. Look again, look. And I finally go, I don't know what to say to you. And he goes, I understand. Like, what are you like? Was it really cold on Tatooine? That was on our planet, Dan. Really? So great, I've been blessed. Great times. Another question or two? Anything?
Got one.
Yes, sir.
This is not really a question. Just there was a scene you did in Nash Bridges one time. I don't know.
Oh boy, and they were crazy in Nash Bridges.
But there was one when you came on. You were like the internal affairs type guy that everyone's not supposed to like.
Right.
And I guess toward the end, you did that for a while. And toward the end, at one point during the show, I guess you got in trouble, and Nash helped you out, and you had this nice little conversation where you talked about how everyone loves Nash Bridges, but they don't like you.
Oh.
And I think the subtext was, you don't understand why, because you were doing your job. He's the one that...
Always, circumvented.
Yeah, circumvented.
The rules.
He's popular. You're playing by the rules. And I thought that was a great scene, because usually the internal affairs guys, we're not supposed to like. They just come and go. They're like the bad guys. And I thought it was like, it gave like a chance to kind of humanize you a little bit. And before then, you were like kind of the butt of the jokes. And now looking back, you kind of felt bad for laughing at the guy. You kind of sympathized with him.
Yeah, thank you. All I wanted to say, I want to hug you. Thank you. That if you watch Nash Bridges, you guys, and I don't know where they are, I would get a script, and I'd be like, I'd let it sit on the, they used to deliver the script. Thank you. And normally, I would put it down, and my wife would say, did you read it? I go, no. Oh, all right. Because it was always like, and then Rick Pitino, naked. Rick Pitino, thrown in the water of the disgusting bay of San Francisco. Rick Pitino in a drag beauty show. But it was always like, oh, God. But it was a great character to play. They made me a sex addict once. I ran down the street literally naked. I had literally a sack, like a cloth sack. And I'm running up and down the streets of San Francisco. I still see 3 guys I met that day. But, it's not really anything. It's a modern world, right? Anyway, yeah. So here's a story. Have you guys watched Criminal Minds? Do you know that show? Do you remember me on Criminal Minds? Another episode. They just call sometimes and say, "Would you play this part?" So they call, and I'm like, "Oh, I must be a great actor because Criminal Minds. It's #1 show on the network. They got the best actors in it." So I get that script to see who I'm playing. Most despicable. Like, it was toward the end of the show. I think they were going as low. I was a guy who kidnapped little girls and then impregnated them, and then they would bring up their sisters as their daughter. Like, it was disgusting. And I thought, why would they have thought of me? And at the read-through, I asked the cast director, why? She goes, oh, Dan, isn't that obvious? Because you're the last guy we would think would be that guy. And then I was like, whew. That makes me feel better, but still mad. So we're doing this scene where I've got these girls, nobody knows where they are, they're going to die, they don't have food, and they catch me with one of the older girls, and I insist that I have a conversation with her. and they won't let me do it. And I say, well, if you don't let me have the conversation with her, I won't tell you where the other kids are. So they relinquish and let me have this conversation. And in the conversation it's written, I'm saying to the girl, you know, I love you. They're going to tell you I'm a terrible person. Don't ever believe them. No one will love you like me. And my wife Tammy was sitting next to the director, and she said the director was watching them, and she started going like this, and she was watching and crying, and then she goes, cut, and she comes into your point, and she said, Dan, that was really good. It was very real. It got me emotional. And then I had the epiphany. I said, but earn the bullet. She goes, yes. Because the next thing I was walking around a corner and the mother of that girl was going to shoot and kill me. So the character that I was playing, so like I was giving legitimate whatever, it's a TV show. So you could not, you should not feel bad for the child rapist. You know, you should want to see him shot 12 seconds later. So, you know, I went in there, I'm like, earn the bullet. Another time I was wearing a hat, that same director, and she was like, the hat, I don't know, but we can't. And I said, look, it's me. You could just say, less Ty Cobb, more Gomer Pyle. I'll do that. One last question, maybe? There's a guy I really have never met. Yes, sir.
Yes, what was it like working with Sylvester McCoy? I think he had a time, right?
Yeah, Sylvester McCoy is in. Sylvester McCoy was which
Doctor
is he,
Who,
the seventh Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I'm standing there with Doctor Who. Come on, Doctor Who. Me and him were buddies. Great guy, very inventive, very comedic, inventive, great stories. Like, who else could you sit? It's like, oh yeah, Olivia and I were walking into the set one time. And you're like, I want to know that story. If you love him, you'd be happy to know he's a great guy. Now look, here's the commercial part. Munsters is on, now it's on Netflix. I do have a couple copies at my table. At my table I have this amazing blacklight poster that we just got today. It's as good as anything you've ever seen. Like an old-fashioned blacklight Munsters poster. And I got a lot of other great stuff. So if you haven't come by, please come by and say hi, or just get a picture, say hi, whatever. Thank you for letting me come. Thank you for letting me talk. I'm sorry if I bored anybody here.